Hi, this is Croaky Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This is my Everything in Bloom on the 8th quick version. It literally is down to I'm feeling better, yes. My cough hasn't gone away and I'm still a bit croaky, and the more I use my voice, the more it sets my cough off. So I'm going to try and keep it short, but you know me. So we'll go the other way round this time. We don't normally go this way round. We'll start with the nice orange Vanda. Most of the buds are fully open now. It didn't look like a very good blooming at first, but now that the blooms have actually opened, it's not a bad spike for a winter spike on that plant. This particular Vanda often puts up 2 spikes at the same time, and it blooms effectively 3 times a year. So it's a good, reliable little Vanda. It's not the best looking plant, and it's lost a lot of its lower leaves. And one day I'm hoping this Kiki will grow large enough that it will cover up the tatty base. Next to that one we've got this, what was Epidendrum polybulbon. It's now called Dinema. Just a single bloom on this. I mean, effectively, this is now a young plant. Although it was a mature plant, I pulled all the leads off and remounted it. So it's sort of starting again. But lovely, delicate little bloom. Quite fragrant as well, but you do need to get quite close. And then the twinkles are, some of them are still doing well and showing well. This is Tiny Twinkle, although I think it's actually got another name, but that's what it was called when I got it. I personally see no reason to change that. But it's a good blooming. It grows well on its mount. Blooms reliably about every 10 months, something like that. It's not got an annual cycle. A lot of the Oncidiums haven't actually. This one, the blooms that were on it when I got it are fading fast. Some of the spikes have virtually gone already, but it does have a couple of spikes that haven't opened yet, so that there will be a continuation of blooms, although the other 2 spikes that haven't opened yet haven't got many buds on. This one's going to go to the talk on Tuesday and get repotted, as I have noticed. Oh, can I get at it? It's starting new growths basically, so and I want it out of that pot, so that'll get repotted soon. Unfortunately, I won't be able to film it because I'll be in the middle of a talk. Right, moving round here, the Latoria that was like a mass bloomer is coming to the end of its time now, but I have noticed a new spike, so there will be a continuation, but quite a few of the spikes on this have actually finished now. And this is, oh, I'll have to turn the pot round, that is polysema crossed with aberrans. I should flipping know that by now. It's been on film long enough. Now this one, I'm going to count it as in bloom, but if I move the pot too much, it won't be in bloom because the last few blooms are about to drop, so it's gone really. And this is the Twinkle cross that's actually got a name which you can read for yourself, but it's a Twinkle crossed back with Sotoanum, which is one of the parents of the Twinkle. That's virtually over now. That's been repotted, so that can just grow on through the growing season and get round to its next go at blooming. Nothing else down there. Nothing else down there. Again, as I said, the Twinkles have done well, but they are coming to the end of their time. This is the Twinkle Cinnamon, and it's on its last few blooms now. And literally, it'll be another day or 2, and these last few blooms will drop. But it's been open some time. It's been looking good, and again, lovely fragrance on this one. All the Twinkles are fragrant, but they're not all the same. They are subtly different. Now, although I can't get at this to show it properly, the Epidendrum radicans type, Comet Valley Sunset Star or something like that, has just opened its first bloom. I can't get the plant out, it's too much trouble, so I'm just sort of bending the bloom round so that we can see it. These open a lovely deep orange, a gorgeous colour, and then they start to fade to a medium orange, but when they, I mean, that literally has opened overnight. That wasn't there yesterday, certainly. The BC Maikai is still looking good. The first blooming for me. I was told they last a long time, and I was told they fade. Well, whoever told me was bang on, because these opened a really deep, rich colour with hardly any spotting, and then gradually they faded to a mid-range purple. And quite honestly, they're gorgeous blooms. I'm looking forward to a much better mass blooming next time round. Tends to bloom winter time, so it's sort of on time, but it is already putting up quite a few new growths, which should mature and bloom eventually. The other Latoria that's looking good, these blooms haven't been open too long, but they last a long time. They're going to last a hell of a long time. And I can't remember what, I'm having trouble with names today. It's lack of energy, that's all it is. That's Dendrobium alexandrae. And quite honestly, for Latoria blooms, they're quite large, gorgeous shape, and lovely patterning. And it's not just the patterning on the lip, it's the colour and the shape. It's just got so much going for it, that bloom. Absolutely gorgeous. And then getting back a bit, this is Paphiopedilum Magical Venus. Bloom's been open a while. When it first opened, its wings, as I call them, were absolutely dead straight, but they have curled back slightly as it's aged, and slightly faded in colour. I don't know how much longer this is going to be in bloom, but it's holding in well at the moment. Right, there's nothing else in that area, so we come round onto the high stuff now. I was going to say you'll be pleased to hear, but you won't, but this Cattleya is finally going. This is Angel Heart. This spike opened about the second, maybe the third week of November last year, and the blooms are just going. Now, that's been in bloom a hell of a long time, and the most amazing fragrance on that. The orange Cattleya is looking good. I've got an Orchid Society meeting tomorrow, and if the energy levels are reasonable, I might actually take that one in. The trouble is with taking it in to actually put it on the competition bench, it needs some preparation. I'll have to sort of clean the leaves off. It'll have to be put in a black pot and top dressed to make it look nice. So there's an amount of effort which I'm not sure I'll have the energy to do, but I'll think about it. And I'm saying my only open Tolumnia, when out of the corner of my eye I can see another one, but that bloom's not open. It's just, the bud's just doing that. So that'll have to wait. It's not really in bloom as such. So this is the only one actually in bloom at the moment, and that is a mealybug. Correction, it was a mealybug. It's now a dead mealybug, which are the best sort, of course. So that's my only Tolumnia open, but most of the Tolumnias have got spikes, some of which are forming buds. So there are going to be quite a few Tolumnias out within a month or maybe two, but certainly within a month there's going to be several more open. And this one, this has branched several times actually, so this has been in bloom a long time on this spike, but it is actually starting another one. So that's its latest growth, and it's already pushing its spike up, even though that growth is nowhere near full size. So that's a happy Tolumnia, that one. Grows well. Right, let's get back up the top then. That's my other Paphiopedilum that's open, that's Maudiae, which I believe is a primary cross. I once thought it was a species, but I kept seeing it written with a capital M, so I looked into it, and it's a primary cross apparently. But I mean, I know what it's called, so that'll do. I don't need to know the history of every single plant I own. It's too much to remember anyway, so it wouldn't work. There's nothing down in that section. Up the back here, both of the Spring Dream Apollons are actually in bloom. Now, one of these is a division off of my really large plant that went to somebody else, and the other one was a Kiki that Rachel gave me quite some time ago. So strictly speaking, I shouldn't be letting either of these bloom. I should be getting the energy into the base of the plant to get new growths going as soon as possible. But you know, this time of year there's not a lot out, so I thought, well, we'll leave them for a bit and see what they do. The canes that are actually blooming are good, strong, healthy canes, but they're not up to their full size yet. The full size of this plant is twice the size of these canes that you're looking at now. It's twice that size. So I've got some growing to do this year, I hope. This is, we're not having a good day for names. This is Dendrobium rhodostictum, and I've just noticed that bloom is just starting to look like it's going to go. But I mean, this has been out well over 2 months, and the two little blooms tucked down there opened about 2 weeks after these, so these are going to hang in a bit longer. But you know, as an individual bloom, it is a lovely shaped Latoria type, that one. It's the purest of whites, you know, with that lovely purple patterning. So yeah, they've been out quite a while. And then this Twinkle, this could also go into the Orchid Society. I mean, it's a pretty good blooming. The spikes are quite evenly spaced around the plant. It's not a mass blooming. I mean, back in last spring, this took best Oncidium in show. It probably had twice that number of spikes at that particular point in time. But nonetheless, that's a pretty good blooming. I've got spikes coming out in all directions, so it's nice and even. Leaves are healthy. And luckily the judges are sensible enough to think, well, these leaves are a bit pale. Perhaps he's growing them under lights in the winter. Well, yes, he is. So they would know that although those leaves look a little pale, they're not damaged in any way. They're just getting probably the maximum light that that plant can take. And that's artificial light this time of year, because I've got some now. The little Dendrobium cuthbertsonii is still looking nice. That opened a strange bronzy colour, but since then it's I won't say it's faded, it's changed to a nice deep orange with a lovely, absolutely brilliant deep red hood, which is basically because of the lips on the top on this one, so it looks like a hood rather than a lip, but gorgeous deep red around the edge of that. I'm not getting these out, they're too much trouble, but 2 of the zygos are in bloom now. This one over here, that's no ID, just a hybrid. Lovely deep colour. It's another one of those that faces its lip to the sky, so you have to get above it. But lovely colouring on this one, I like that one. It's not a good blooming. 2 blooms on a zygo spike is not exactly brilliant, but 2's better than none. This, however, is a good spike. That's come on nicely. All the blooms are open. Nice and even down the spike. Looking nice. Very fragrant, that one. The other one is fragrant, but they've only just opened. It's not actually pushing its fragrance out yet, but we haven't had a decent day, you know, with some nice bright light to get them going yet. However, this one has had a couple of days when the sun was in here. But lovely colours. Those have lightened slightly since they opened, but only slightly, so still looking good. Oh, we've nearly run out now, so I'm just scanning because I know what I'm like, I miss things. And I think, yeah, we're down to the last one now, and the last one is a bit sneaky because the blooms have gone on this, really. There's only one left, and it's starting to fade anyway. These blooms on this one, this is Dendrobium moniliforme, they go from buds, and then they open, and then they close again and drop off. It's a very strange thing. But they actually close, and that one's starting to. It was still fully open yesterday, but I think that's gone now, that plant. But it does have more buds to come, so there will be some more blooms a little bit later. And it tends to bloom on the canes that have still got leaves at the same time as the leaves start to drop. So you see there were blooms here, now the leaves are going. This cane here will be leafless soon. I was going to say, if I help it, it could be leafless now. That one was loose, but the other one's not. And then this one will start dropping its canes soon. And that leaves the 2 new growths that it put up last year, which will stay fully leaved right through this year into the winter again. And hopefully it will produce some new growths. There's not a lot of point in having you if you don't, you know. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. And thanks for dropping by and putting up with my absence, but I haven't been well. And it's not like me. It just feels wrong for me to be ill. And I've been descended on. Literally knock at the flipping door, 7 o'clock in the evening. You know, I was still in my dressing gown, feeling absolutely lousy. and it was my youngest son and his girlfriend have turned up to stay for a few days. And of course, did they let me know? Did they hell? So, you know, I was unprepared, but it is nice to see the guy. I mean, he lives up the other end of the country, basically, and I haven't seen him for probably a year, you know, so it was good to see him. They're not up yet. They don't get up early. But yeah, so I've got guests at the moment, but yeah, I'll put this one together, and tomorrow's an Orchid Society meeting. I'll take the camera and film the plants. Not very easy to film at Wessex, but I will try, and that will probably be tomorrow's video, because I don't want to push this and make myself unwell again by trying to do too much, if you see what I mean. And just the journey and getting there and getting back and being away from my home, and that is probably going to drain the energies again. So that'll be tomorrow, and then Sunday. We'll see how we are, but we should have a normal Sunday morning chat about all sorts of stuff and nonsense like we usually do. And I'll see you then, and thanks for dropping by. Oh, and thanks for all your best wishes and stuff like that. It's nice to see when you're feeling really lousy, you know, it's nice to be cheered up a bit by some nice, well-wishing people, including an awful lot of people that left comments that I don't remember ever seeing comments from before, so that's nice, you know. Always feel free, leave a comment. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.